we recognize the importance of citizen engagement and peaceful protest. It is crucial to emphasize the importance of abiding by the law and regulations set forth by the Kenya Constitution. Maintaining law and order is essential for any functional country, and it is the responsibility of both citizens and governments to uphold these principles. Yesterday, we saw the opposition leaders visiting the people who are apparently injured by the policemen, and we want to beg the question that we are waiting for them to also visit the people whose lives were interrupted by the maandamano, and the people whose properties were destroyed and robbed. And I want to specifically single out the owner of Eastmart Kitengela and ask what did he do, and where were the police in the looting of this shop? You can see clearly that this is not the police. It is actually the hired goons and the hired men who did that. We have a chief in Bondo, Mr. Walter Omolo, whose personal home where he lives is in with his family was actually torched. We have somebody called Francis Ogutu, the driver of a bus owned by Henry Moigai that was burnt along Ngong Road. We are waiting for them to tell us that without the police, the projectile and the direction that the violence was taking, whether it was really about the cost of hunger, whether it was really about the elections, and we also want to ask the policeman who was shot by a civilian with a gun in Condemn, when are they going to speak to him? We want to commend the police, and we want to urge them to be even firm, to even be more firm, and to be even more strict when it comes to maandamano. We want to also ask them, when they will talk about the 168 cars that were belonging to the police that were destroyed, we want them to answer KEPSA when they tell us that we are losing 3 billion shillings a day. And when you look at all this, and the livelihoods and the injuries that were later, that a year later, 350 days after the elections last year, that we have people still dying in this country. I want to beg the question whether we were ready, or whether we want democracy in this country. Personally, I'm of the view that democracy is not working, not just in Kenya, but in many countries in Africa. But we want to set an example in Kenya, that the leaders who are there in 2027, that will need to discuss how they are going to continue in their seats until we are ready as a country to embrace democracy. It is becoming fashionable to dispute elections. And we as Nairobi, because we are the ones who bear the brunt of any of these disputes, that we are thinking, and personally I'm thinking, that democracy is not the way to go. We must sit down and come up with another form of governing this country and moving forward. We do an election, we debate about the election for the next 2 years. Just when the third year we start campaigning for the next election, when are we going to work? When are we going to move on as a country? When are we going to be an industrialized country? So we are here to condemn that, and we have examples. For example, as we are sitting here, Niger, there is a crisis. The country is in a lockdown because of elections. So we want to assure people, and we want to tell people that we personally don't believe democracy is the way to go. On the other hand, we want to assure our people that, because I'm a businessman in this city, that never again will we as citizens of this country allow goons and Moandamanaji to destroy our business. It is not going to happen. We must go back to the constitution, define what a peaceful maandamano is, and stick to that. Thank you.
Aldo, MCA for Moja One Ward. I'm the UDA Chief Whip of the Nairobi County Assembly. I would like to echo the sentiments of the UDA leader in Nairobi, that hii mambo ya maandamano ni the high time we put hypocrisy aside, because watu wanajifanya ni cost of living. If you members of the fourth estate will look at the demands given by the Azimio side, they put the cost of living as agenda number 1. Have you looked at the other 3-4 agendas that they put as their demands? We cannot be after every 5 years, after every election cycle, tunasema nani aliibiwa, nani hakuibiwa. How do you dispute a single election out of the 5 elections that were held? We've not heard them disputing the MCA's election. We've not heard them disputing the members of parliament election, the senators election, the women reps election, the governors election. In fact, the same governors ambao walichaguliwa na the same IEBC ndio pia wanapanga maandamano kusema fungua saba. You know, it beats logic. How comes all the other posts zilichaguliwa vizuri na hawa wamekalia ofisi wanaenjoy, hawa wako sawa, wakiitwa waheshimiwa, yet wanasema rais hakuchaguliwa vizuri? You know, that's hypocrisy, and the same hypocrisy ndio tunapelekewa mtaani. And it's sad to see that the human rights activists pia wako busy, they've turned themselves into busy bodies. I've not heard any of them castigating the looting that is occurring. And actually, hao vijana wengi ni wale wako jobless. Si ati wako na haja na hii maandamano. They are after the money that is being given to them. We've witnessed citizens from Kitengela wakisema they've not seen any familiar faces in the demonstration. Those were people ferried there to go and loot, to go and demonstrate. In Umoja, where I represent, the maandamano day, watu walikuja genge, wanangoja watu wakishuka train, they mark them. We've seen in Kisumu, we saw one Hussein Hassan, the owner of Jamia. What does he have to do with the maandamano? Wameenda wamechoma ofisi ya DC Kitengela. Maandamano iko Kisumu, wameenda wameiba funeral home. Of all the places, what has a funeral home got to do with the cost of living? You see, it's the high time as leaders we get genuine. Wacha tuache kutumia mambo ya cost of living. And for a fact, this government has not been able to use its first budget. William Samoei Ruto has been elected as the president for 5 years. Give him time. Give him time. Even a person that got wedded the same day that the president was sworn in has not even given birth to a newborn, and it's supposed to be, let's say, around 9 months. So we cannot judge William Ruto on a period of less than 2.5 years or 3 years at least. So ile kitu tunaomba ndugu zetu ni tuache uongo na hype emotions za wananchi kwa sababu ya cost of living. What used to happen during the Uhuru regime, we used to operate this country on a fallacy. The country used to operate like mtu kwa nyumba anaishi kwa budget ya 50,000 lakini mshahara yake ni ngiri 10. Hii ingine akisubsidize na madeni ukikopa huku. Now that is long gone. It's the high time we started depending on taxes. We cannot be paying civil servants na madeni. Hatuwezi kuwa tunalishwa na madeni. It's funny that when they started the protest, we saw a clip of William Ruto going to the farm akiwa juu ya tractor kulima. A few months later, the same people wako na sufuria kwa kichwa kwa streets. We've seen a picture of William Ruto in the garden, mahindi yameanza kukoma. You know, they give us time. Na waliambiwa cost ya unga ndio ishuke, lazima tufanye nini? Tulime. And the government has already subsidized the fertilizer na kilimo inaendelea. So it's only a matter of time before bei ya unga ifanye nini? Ishuke. Na si ati itashuka temporarily hii ya kufurahisha wananchi na subsidies. It's going to go down once and for all. So mile naomba ni Azimio, coalition and the critics of the government, it's good to critic but without lying to Kenyans. Jaribu kuweka kama polisi ndio